Luis from CISinks, and I'm here to introduce you on how to install the CIS system for a Canon Maxify series. We are showing a 2020 here, the actual installation will work for pretty much any Maxify printer. Only differences you're going to be able to notice is that the shell is a little different, but the internals are exactly the same. So first things first, we're going to want to remove the OEM cartridges in there, and this printer doesn't actually have an option for you to remove the cartridges. As you can see here, it's actually stuck in there, no way for you to pull in and out. So with the printer on, with the head in position where you could actually remove the cartridges, what you're going to have to do is unplug the printer from the power as it's on. So it's on, it's in position, I'm going to unplug it from the power. Once I unplug the printer from the power, it gives me the ability to move the printer left and right. So once it's in position here, unplug it from the power, and then you're able to move the head. So move it slightly to the right. You'll notice that there's a big gear in there. So that gear's purpose is pretty much to allow you to remove the original cartridge. So what you're going to have to do is pretty much reach in there, and you're going to spin that gear maybe 3 or 4 times. Okay, looks like that's done. So once you do that, make sure you line up your cartridge to where it's able to release here. And all you're going to do after you press that gear is pull it back on the lever there, and it'll release the cartridge. Now, since we're installing a CIS system, you don't want to install the cartridges with the heads like this. So you're going to have to plug the printer back in from the power. Alright, turn the printer on. Could take a few minutes before it gets there. And basically wait for the printer to tell you it's time to install the ink cartridges. So we're going to wait for that. Once again, it takes a few minutes before it actually is ready. Now it's sending me to install the following ink tank. So what I'm going to do now, these printers load up on the cartridges, is you're supposed to do them only one by one. That's exactly what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the cartridge assembly near, and then install yellow first. Alright, just snap it in there. Press OK on the printer. Actually press next. And then it'll move over, and now you can install black. So you see how once I press next, it moved over and it goes onto the black slot. Same thing, snap it in there, make sure it locks, press next on the printer, and then cyan cartridge. Alright, and the last one will be magenta, so press next, and the same thing. Okay, so with the cartridges in there now, we have to install the air filter before we move on. So just make sure you grab all your air filters, put them on the external tanks here, right at the very top. There's a double plug here. The smaller plug will be the slot for the air bit, and also the air filter. When you put in the air filters, make sure they're fat side in. Alright, so now there's 2 ways of actually doing the install. You could have the lid closed, just gotta make sure you leave it left slack, or if you want to leave it open, you also have that option. So if you were to leave the cartridges open, you wouldn't really need a clamp. Maybe the square clamp could go in here and it will be enough for it to move left and right without interfering. So if you do want to leave it open, then you have to find the lid sensor. On this printer, the lid sensor is located here in a small gap. It's very, very small gap, hardly noticeable, right on the corner. So if I were to put this in there, what happens is pretty much the printer thinks that the lid is closed. Now, there is a way to close the lid, and quite honestly, it might actually kink the tube, but I've seen it work already. So it might not be too much of a problem as long as you're monitoring your ink lines and making sure there's not too much air developing on there. So if we were to install it that way, then we would have to put the clip up here and then just simply close the lid. Remove this and then close the lid. You see the gap here? This is where the hole should be coming out from. So once you do that there, the installation is pretty much complete. Just make sure that you're leaving enough slack on the line for it to move left and right. If you're not leaving enough, it's gonna jam, and if you leave too much, it's gonna jam as well. So that looks about right to me. So if I were to just leave it at that, that pretty much does it. Like I said, once you're able to do that, you can use one of the square clips to pretty much make it neat here. So it doesn't necessarily matter where you put this on. It's at your discretion. You can put it up here, you can put it next to the lid, it doesn't matter. After you do this, pretty much that's the install. If you have any questions, go ahead and go to our fresh desk. We usually include a lot of troubleshooting steps on there, and you're also able to open tickets there in case you have any further questions besides what's provided on there. And the link for that is CISinks.freshdesk.com. Thank you very much, and really appreciate everything.